point of the sketch and the point of the costume was to be over the top and a satire of what Anonymous is and stuff like that. So I guess I am flattered. I really wish he would have asked for my permission first, because if he did, I would have told him no. Because number one, I'm not German, I'm not left-wing, I'm not an activist, and I'm not unemployed, and I don't live with my parents. It's factually incorrect to do that. But secondly, I create my content not to hurt people, not to make people offended and angry. I create my content to make people laugh and give them an escape from the kind of stuff that Breitbart publishes. I want you to come here and not have to think or worry about that kind of scary stuff. So to use me to scare people or to hurt people, no bueno. Secondly, because the only other time that I've ever been on Breitbart, they wrote a positive article about me, about some beef I was having with the folks over at Kotaku at the time. And even though that was a positive article, it generated an incredible wave of hatred. Lots of people sending me like death threats and all this garbage and just screaming at me, oh, you must be an alt-righter piece of shit. I can't believe what a piece of garbage you are. I'm not. I did not consent to that article. I did not grant an interview to the author. None of that. All they did was write about me without my permission or my consent. I still ended up suffering immeasurably because of it. So obviously today, when I check my email and see several emails about it and see several tweets about it, I obviously do not want this to happen. I do not want to be the face of violent left-wing Germans. I do not want that. You do not have my permission. Please remove my picture from that article. Not that that will change any of the damage that you've already done, because this article has been shared on Facebook 23,000 times and counting, and that's 23,000 people who perceivably think that I'm some sort of violent activist. I do not want that in my life. I do not need that kind of stress in my life. Please, Breitbart, please don't fucking do this. Because here's the thing, you may not be aware of this, but a good number of your readers are toxic. And a good number of the people who hate your publication are also toxic. And anytime you loop me into anything, both of those toxic groups of people attack me, and that's not something that me and my mental health can handle. So please, just take down my picture, take down any articles about me. Please never write about me again. And I understand that you don't have to do that, because you have the freedom of speech in this country. You have the freedom of the press to publish whatever the hell you want, and if you want to write about me, I know that you will. But let me just say this. I believe you use that power irresponsibly. I believe that sometimes you write articles that are designed to be inflammatory, and I think that you're using that power maliciously. But that's up to you and the Constitution. It doesn't involve me, doesn't have to involve me. Please just don't fucking involve me. But then again, the author of this article was very, very reasonable. Is doing everything that he can to help. He's a perfect gentleman. Hopefully the editor that chose that picture will do the exact same thing and be just as reasonable. Please prove a lot of people wrong here and be very kind and very reasonable. I will really, really appreciate it. Guys, thanks for watching. I love you very much. I'll speak with you again soon. Man.
Sharp teeth. Don't have enough energy. Let's cut through.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube? Boogie298 coming at you live once again through the power of the internet. I told you I would unbox one of these. I told you. Even if I had to break and harm or bust a leg to get it, I would unbox one of these for you. So we're doing it today. So I know the question is going to ask, did you pay $200 for this? Did you pay $500 for this? Did you pay $5,000 for this? No, actually, I'm very, very fortunate that my friend Jeff from Wisconsin actually purchased a second one of these when he purchased his from GameStop and decided to ship it to me for this unboxing. So I would not have had this otherwise. I was not going to pay reseller price for this under any circumstance. So thank you, Jeff. Go ahead and take a look at the back of the box. And while we do that, let me just go ahead and say that I thought this thing was going to end up in the discount bin sometime next year. But that's not going to be the case, and it's...
I'm pretty good at ignoring chat, I feel.
I've gotten really good at it, and now I have to unlearn everything that I just learned in the past 94 episodes. So we're gonna do a nice job. We're gonna try our best at give our best attempt at reading what you guys have to say in chat by looking over there. Hey, thank you very much. Compliment on the haircut. Yeah, see.
Oh, you got a haircut.
I got a haircut.
I see. I didn't notice.
And I'm already reading chat. I've already improved.
Well,
so I'm a quick learner.
See, this is the best show ever.
It is. Thank you all for being here. We really do appreciate it. Again, this is every single Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. If you guys can't watch us live, then we do re-upload the show to our respective YouTube channels. We cut it into 2 halves. The first half this week is on my channel, which is youtube.com/c/bitwit. It's the new channel format for the YouTube URLs. And then the second half is going to be on Paul's channel, which is youtube.com/paulshardware. There's a link in my video description as well. If you're on Twitch, just stay where you are. We stream the whole thing in its continuity right there. So, good stuff, y'all. Good stuff. We've got some good stuff to talk about as well.
We do.
Lots of news, lots of Ryzen news.
We should
Ryzen,
start.
Ryzen,
We should maybe start with the announcement, the quick announcement.
We do have an announcement.
Next week is Valentine's Day, Tuesday of next week.
Singles Awareness Day.
And yes, that too. But anyway, we will not be streaming the show next week. So just so you guys know, it's mostly my fault.
All Paul's fault.
It's mostly my fault. But Kyle, I imagine his wife will also be happy to have Valentine's Day free, right?
We usually celebrate it like the weekend after or weekend before because it's always.
Well, that's what we're technically doing too. We're actually going on a snowboarding trip for a couple days, so that should be fun. Yeah.
So maybe wifey and I will stream some games or something. Don't quote me on that. I might need to catch up on work.
She's like, way to just promise away our Valentine's Day for live streaming.
She's actually gotten so hooked on H1Z1 lately that she'd probably be totally fine with it.
Well, that's always
That's
nice.
all we did on Super Bowl Sunday. Was we didn't
Anytime-
even turn the TV on. We just played video games.
Anytime you can get your wife into a video game is good.
It's good, and then it's also kind of scary.
Sometimes.
Because when she gets really into it, I'm like, who are you? Like, she doesn't even give a shit about video games otherwise. I'll sometimes be like, you want to go out to dinner? She's like, after one more round.
When my wife
Scary.
is really into a game, like I can talk to her and she completely ignores me. She's just like sits there.
It's like now we
And
know
like
what they
this,
feel
and
like.
I was like, wow, I remember doing that to my mom when I was young. But now
It goes
so-
full circle in a weird kind of way.
Yeah. But
Indeed.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Anyway.
But to get back on topic here,
Oh, yeah.
yes, so no show next week, but we should be okay. Hopefully the following week. We'll have to give you updates on that.
Well,
We'll take it as we go.
there's stuff. We'll
There's
talk
lots of
about it
stuff.
later. We'll
There's
talk
so
about
much
it later.
stuff.
All right.
In the meantime, you guys can pick up a piece of merchandise from either of our stores. We're selling things. You can help support the channel by grabbing a shirt or a mug or a glass from my store, which is bitwit.tech/store. The glasses and the mugs in particular are new-ish. I think they came out a month or two ago, and they've been selling quite well. And I finally got a set.
whitelisted bitwit.tech.
Thank you. Even though there are no ads whatsoever on this website, I finally got a set of the glasses and the mugs. They look really nice. They actually hold more than a full can of beer, and they're very easy and fun to drink from.
Wonderful.
You can also pick up something from Paul's store, which is paulshardware.net.
I'm also gonna unlock my site.
You should also definitely do that. Let the ads run wild.
Okay.
What do you got?
I got a few ladies T-shirts. You know, we have not a huge female following, but you know, I wanted to give them a nod and everything, so we got those on there. Some thumbscrew decals, some beanies, some hoodies, some pint glasses, some mugs, all that fun things. Buy stuff during the show. We'll give you a shout out at the end, and the time we call Johnson shoutouts.
Yes.
Why it's called that and why we say that, we still don't fully understand.
I don't know how that came to be, but
Keep doing it.
I'm sure someone can clip it and
It's
send
lost.
it to us later.
It's lost in the sands of time. There's no record of it.
Sounds like the beginning of the premise of a movie. Like the Mummy. We had to find out where the origins.
That's it. There's no record of it available by clicking the Awesome Hardware playlist
Not at all.
and going back to the show.
We burned it all, right?
That's the problem that we do have with drinking during the show, is that sometimes we don't remember what happened.
Yep.
So,
Which is why we record everything.
so fair warning, some drinking happens, some adult language happens, and Kyle's already been cussing, so that doesn't matter. Anyone who's offended, what?
I said the F word once.
No, you said shit.
Oh. Well, fuck. I mean, who cares? It's just shit.
You're right.
No one cares. Shit's hardly a swear word in 2017.
No one gives a good gosh darn about any of that.
Wow. Just make me look like
Any of that
some bad
tomfoolery.
guy here. Enough of that foolishness. Thank you very much, M30 Tech, for the $10 donation. We will be reading all the comments at the end of this half of the show. So continue donating if you would like. It's never required, but always appreciated, and we'll be reading all the messages attached to those donations at the end of the show. All right, let's move on to our first story, or our first article here, which is
what's our first
within the
segment?
Hot and Heavy Hardware segment,
Hot and heavy hardware.
where we talk about hardware that's hot and heavy and relatively new, on the rise, of some interest to us gamers, us PC enthusiasts. So I thought this was pretty interesting, and I might actually try to do a build with one of these. Dibs on this guy. It's from Pallet. From Pallet or Pallet. It's a passively cooled GTX 1050 Ti.
I want to see I want to say it's Pallet.
Pallet. That's what was my first.
Or what if it's like an
initial
eat?
thought.
It could be an eat. Palette.
It depends on
Palette.
which country it comes from. Maybe.
If it's French, maybe it's
Or maybe it's not even like that.
Palais. It could be Palais if it was French. Oh.
Well, if it's French, it's just
That's
it's
terrible.
simply.
It's my first ever attempt at a French accent. I think it was terrible.
It's just like just hawk up a loogie and you probably get it right. So this is called the Calm X. Calm with a spelled K-A-L-M. Interesting spelling there. But it is the Calm X and consists of the GTX 1050 Ti series. This is the first passively cooled heatsink on a GTX 1050 Ti. In fact, any card perhaps.
It's like you can't see the video card. All the pictures, all you see is
Not any card, but any Pascal card. I guess they may. I believe they might have done this with the GTX 1050. I don't know if it was Palette, but or Palette, but this is one of the first passively cooled heatsinks to hit the market in recent times, and it's a pretty good contender. I'd say the 1050 Ti is a good candidate for something like this because it doesn't draw too much power. You actually get all of your power straight from the PCIe slot, rated 75 watts. So there's no PCIe connectors externally outside of that, which is really nice. And it keeps a relatively cool profile. I mean, it's not super power hungry. It's not the fastest card, but you can still do some ultra settings at, well, I wouldn't say ultra. Well, I guess you could do ultra, it just depends on the frame rate. You can definitely get away with like medium to high settings, 60 FPS in most titles.
play like Wolfenstein 3D.
Like
on
Wolfenstein
Ultra.
for sure, Minecraft, and a bunch of other games. So it's a good card, and the real benefit of this is not so much temperatures. I'm sure it's going to be it's going to run a little hotter than most typical coolers on this card. But the idea here is to have a 0 decibel operation, so completely silent, which is all the rage these days. As you know, I don't know. I think we're getting spoiled now. We used to have systems that were just so loud. Actually, this Razer Blade Pro can get pretty loud when it's under load. But even desktop computers these days, we're constantly trying to make them quieter because they're getting faster, and that requires more cooling, which requires fans to speed up more, and everything just falls to shit, and you can't hear your freaking self think. But
Kyle gets
fortunately,
Kyle gets $10 every time he references his Razer Blade Pro.
no, I do not. That's complete bullshit. Razer Blade.
That's their deal.
Razer Blade Pro. But so this is probably a card that I'm going to check out sooner or later if I can get my hands on it. I don't know of any. I don't think I've ever had a Palette card in the studio before, so I don't know how accessible this is going to be.
I don't see them distributed widely in the U.S., but yeah, I mean I've seen them before.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do some international shipping where I can get a hold of someone there. But this is also gonna. I don't know. I'm curious to see how effective this is, because if you're overclocking, especially, then granted you won't be able to overclock much if you're not getting additional power from the PCIe connectors. But it would suck if you still had to have like really good case airflow to make it operable, because then that kind of defeats the purpose of a silent system. So that's one consideration. We'll just have to find out later if we do some experiments or read the reviews. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic, or the next article, which is about NVIDIA's workstation cards. They've got a new series coming out with Pascal GPUs, of course. These are their Quadro series of GPUs, and the flagship one that we're talking about here is the GP100, although they are also announcing the P4000, P2000, P1000, P600, and P400. No one cares about those. They're all weak and slow and stuff. No, I'm sure they're very good. But the GP100 is aimed at the high-end professionals who work with complex design tasks such as video editing, photorealism, virtual reality, and that sort of thing. Can't forget about deep learning, of course. That's a staple NVIDIA talking point. The GP100 flagship card, just to run off a few specs here, 3,584 CUDA cores. We've got 16 gigs of HBM2.
Oh,
that's kind of cool. That's a lot. And floating point 64 performance of 5.2 teraflops. FP32 performance of 10.3 teraflops. Very impressive numbers. FP16 of 20.7 teraflops. Max power consumption 235 watts. So that is significantly more than something like the GTX 1080, which is 180 watts rated TDP, I think. So it is a bit of a power-hungry guy, but it does feature the, of course, PCIe Gen 3 x 16 interface, and then we've also got now support for the latest CUDA 8 computer platform, which is something a lot of professionals have been wanting for a while now. And it's also the first product to bring NVLink to a Windows system.
So I believe from that logo there, these are two separate links.
Yes.
One is the NVLink and one is the SLI.
Right.
That's where there's two of them there.
Yes, exactly. So for those of you familiar with NVLink, it's basically a way to have the two cards in SLI communicate quicker. It actually operates at a faster frequency than typical SLI does.
I believe it allows for memory cooling, but I could be wrong.
I'm not sure. I might be right about that. I don't know. That's a little check. But that will basically support up to 80 gigabytes per second bidirectional with the two bridges attached, as Paul just showed. Of course, this doesn't mean too much. There's nothing to get too riled up here if you're just looking at gaming performance. However, these cards do now support a GeForce mode that you can put the card into if you did want to play games. And I'm
that's cool.
very interested to see what that does. If they're just tweaking the driver by putting it in that mode, what makes it in GeForce mode?
From my understanding in the past, there's a lot of extreme similarities between workstation GPUs and gaming GPUs, and that in a lot of situations they could really just, it's like they don't write a gaming driver and keep the gaming driver updated for workstation because they're not built for that. They work on driver compatibilities with, like, programs that cost thousands of dollars that they use in enterprise environments, and they're too busy handling all that stuff to also worry about keeping driver updates for all the games that are in play. But perhaps with the crossover of people who like to work and play, or the increase in PC gaming, or maybe just because they know, like, the hardware is there and they just need the driver to attach to it to actually function properly for gaming. That's kind of cool.
Yep.
Or that, or maybe maybe there's so many design similarities between the GPU, like the GP100 that's here, and whatever slight variation of it will go in, presumably a 1080 Ti or something like that. Maybe they're just so similar that there's not really much to be done to enable the GeForce drivers for Quadro cards.
Right. You know, it'd be an interesting test is to have a flagship Quadro and a flagship GeForce card and see which one is the more balanced one. Like, if you were a workstation professional and you were a gamer, which one would you go with? Like, which one is more balanced?
I would expect the GeForce cards to always perform better in games, much like the Intel mainstream processors typically perform better in games because they're more focused on, like, you can have fewer cores and run at higher clock speeds, and in the workstation environment, you're much more concerned about precision than you are about speed. So I would think it'd be more like saying, like, oh, you're building a sweet workstation to do all of your AutoCAD stuff with, or I don't know, whatever the hell you do with workstation graphics cards. And by the way, person who also likes to play video games in your off time, you can also use that, thankfully, now to play video games with, and you don't have to worry about building a separate computer or something like that. Right. Which that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think Linus might even have a video on last generation Quadro card, if I'm remembering correctly, where he might have tested it with gaming.
Oh, using it with gaming? I don't think I watched that video, but I might have spotted it.
Could be wrong, but very interesting nonetheless. Let's go ahead and move on to our
SolidWorks. Yeah.
Our third and final piece of news for hot and heavy hardware, which is from Acer. They have just announced a brand new panel that looks pretty sexy.
The Bemidjqua Fuzzics.
The Bemidjqua what?
The Bemidjqua Fuzzics.
Bemidjqua Fuzzics?
Yeah.
Bemidjqua Fuzzics. What is Bemidjqua Fuzzics?
This is the Acer XR382CQK Bemidjqua Fuzzics.
Bemidjqua Fuzzics.
Yeah.
Of course, rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. I mean, I think their marketing team has really stepped up their game
to make things easier.
Yeah.
Just more memorable.
Just simple, memorable names, easy
Nice.
to like punch into a browser or search engine so people can find the product.
Great for SEO.
And Bemichko Fuzix, I think, is just going to be the first in a long line of monitors that stand the test of time. Just because people be like, remember the Bemichko Fuzix right when it first came out? It's like, oh, the Gen 1 Bemichko Fuzix was just super sweet.
Physics Gen 2. Yeah. Yes. They really need a new marketing manager, I think. They're Acer, to be quite frank. But marketing techniques aside, I think this is a pretty nice looking monitor. It's 37.5 inches.
That's true.
Diagonally. IPS. Curved at a rating of 2300 R, which is pretty curvy. It's kind of on the Marilyn Monroe scale of voluptuousness.
We need to make a graphic for that.
Yeah, just have like different women, and their curves. Now that so many triggered people easily. But ultra wide quad HD, so that's 3440 by 1440, and we're gonna get adaptive sync via DisplayPort on this bad boy, up to 75 hertz.
Okay.
So that's not bad. 75 hertz.
75
is a nice step
75
over
is like
60.
all right. It's good for workstation stuff and basic, and it maybe a little crossover into gaming. I feel like the gaming monitors now if you're selling it as a gaming monitor, I don't think 75 hertz really cuts it.
Right.
But if it's
general purpose or multi-purpose.
if it's IPS and it's got really good color reproduction and stuff like that, then that's okay.
Don't talk trash on the Bemichko Fuzix, man.
I'm not. But I mean, we have to.
It's a Bemichko Fuzix is a person's monitor. I just want to say that word now. I want to get really good at saying it. You've already mastered. Were you practicing how to say that before the show? Were you just standing in front of the mirror before I got here? Bemichko Fuzix.
Ryan Shrout.
I'm Paul.
Ryan Shrout
Bemichko
was tweeting about it.
Ah.
About how this is like the worst named product he's ever encountered in his entire existence as a tech reviewer.
Right.
And I looked at it, and I don't know, I just looked at the word and I was like, Bemichko Fuzix. So I replied with a phonetic spelling out of how to pronounce it, just for his edification.
And because of that, you probably know exactly now like the model number because of that. You know
Now
what
I
mean?
do.
Right.
So maybe it is brilliant marketing. Maybe what the hell do we know? This is.
You know,
It's somehow
I was
embedded itself in our.
I was so thrown off when I first saw that in the article that I thought the author at Hexus.net was making fun of.
Fell asleep on the keyboard.
No, I thought he was making fun of the first part, because the first part that's Bemichko Fuzix is only the second half. The first half is XR382CQK. And then it's Bemichko Fuzix. So I thought, and the first part is all caps, and Bemichko is all lower. So I thought the author was just like satire, just fucking with Acer. You might as well just spam it. And I was like, oh no, that's real. That's actually the model name. So
it has to mean something. It must mean. In Acer internally, like each of those letters means something. Like it's black. Obviously, the B, it's got a black housing. And the M's, like it's
monitor.
There's some metal. It's got some metal in there. And then
I made it. Sorry, J. Just because.
There'd be a little song that goes along with it. See?
You. Yeah, we could do their jobs better than they could.
It is good marketing.
So $1,300.
Ah, damn it!
I know. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's where I'm like, maybe it should have been 100 hertz then, because if it was 75 hertz and like $800, I'd be like, yeah, I could get behind that. But at pretty much the same rate as a Predator X34, which does 100 hertz with G-Sync, it's I don't know. Who are you marketing this to, really? It's like a niche within a niche.
Yeah.
Nicheception. Anyway. Good to see Acer pushing the boundaries at the very least. Next up, we've got Pimp My PC.
Yay.
We're going to talk about your guys' PCs, and you tweeted pictures of them to me earlier today, and I was like, oh, this guy needs help. And now we're going to help you. Or maybe it could have been a girl. Who knows? But no, they're all guy names.
Have you ever? We've never done like a Pimp My PC. Where are they now? Episode. We should do that though.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I've seen quite a few people
100th episode
come back. Yes, we'll start collecting them because people have come back and been like, "You guys told me to do things, and now I spent money on my computer." And I'm always like, "Oh, we were just But then usually it looks nicer.
What if it looks worse?
Yeah.
What if we're just
it's
like,
oh,
no, you wasted your money. Did you just go back to
Sorry.
the first thing, the
sorry,
way
forget
it was?
forget everything we said.
But that's a great
Control-C.
idea, Paul. I like that.
All right.
You guys remind me on Twitter when we get closer to episode 100 to do that. All right, first guy is Marcelo. Marcelo Wallace. What's in the suitcase, Marcelo?
Marcelo's gross.
Oh,
I like his handle is gaming cucumber,
that's fun.
which is cool.
It's like unknown lobster.
You're right. It's very.
Reminds me of that for some reason. So we've got a Node 202 build here, which I, of course, am guilty of being a big fan of. I'm a little biased because I've got the system in that rig, in that chassis of my own, and this is doesn't say it doesn't have any specs, I believe, in the tweet, but looks like you've got a full-size video card in there from Gigabyte. Aftermarket. I'm not sure what that is.
No.
He did.
He replied.
He commented.
6600 i5, 6600 GTX 1060, 16 gigs of DDR4, a 960 gig SSD.
Wow,
That's cool.
very nice. That's beautiful. Actually, I think this looks pretty good. The only thing.
It's the Gigabyte 8 Z170 Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah,
I think.
that's the one you used for Hotbox initially.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
original hotbox.
Mhm.
It's a decent little motherboard. Probably actually
Good for
a
this.
very good motherboard for a system like this because you're
Can't
not
overclock.
really going to be overclocking much.
Unless you
especially
put a custom, unless you put an AIO in
Yeah,
there,
just-
then you know
cut through the chassis support.
can
So
have
it
at
starts flexing.
overclock all you want.
All right, so I mean, here's the thing. This is a Node 202. You can't see inside, so I mean, sure you could like maybe cinch down some
But
cables.
you know what it looks like inside.
All right.
That's it's about pride, Paul.
Okay.
It's not just about flexing your nuts in front of the homies. It's about flexing your own nuts to yourself and acknowledging how good your own nuts look.
I do that sometimes.
Don't we all?
So,
I agree though.
all right. So what?
It's pretty good to go. I'd say the only thing is that if you are gaming on this frequently, which according to the specs it looks like you are, I would be curious to see how loud that Intel stock cooler is getting. Because while I wouldn't really have too many suggestions on how to make the chip run that much cooler, I could definitely tell you that there are some coolers that will make it run a lot quieter.
Yeah, there's some better coolers with some smaller fans.
And you don't have
Or
many
some
options
better
in the Node
fans.
202. I think it's like 54 millimeters.
It's very small.
Is your height clearance.
It's very
Something
small.
very, very shallow like that. So, slim pickings. I know Noctis